So a super common question that I get asked, especially from friends when I've been doing this for quite a while, is what does a buyer's agent actually do? So the easiest way that I can explain it is you've got your sales agent. So they're working for the seller, otherwise known as a vendor, and their sole purpose is to get the property sold and to get the maximum price. Like that is their legal obligation to that seller. We work on the exact opposite. So we're there to get the best property at the best price for our clients who are the buyers. So another way to explain it is if you're going into court and you're going against someone that has a solicitor and you don't, you're unrepresented. So you are going to be battling against a professional that knows the law, knows how to work situations to get a better outcome for their clients. So we act as that professional for our clients in order to get their best result for them. And it's usually just due to a knowledge breakdown. Like you guys aren't this isn't something that you're taught at school. So when I say you guys, like people aren't taught this at school. And if you're not taught at school how to buy a property, how else are you going to figure out how to do it? Like you have to go through the actions. And I work with people from, they bought multiple properties to first home buyers. I was literally helping a first home buyer through a negotiation today. And it's just a knowledge breakdown. And the agent's not going to. So the sales agent, as much as they come across as being on your side, they're not. They're legally not allowed to be on your side. They have to be on the vendor side. They have to be on the seller's side. So that is typically something that they're trained to do is like nurture the buyer, make sure that they feel okay and they know the process and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, they're trying to get the most money out of you as a buyer. So what does a buyer's agent do? We are the other side. We are representing the unrepresented for the most part in Australia. The adoption rate is going up dramatically. So there was a recent study done where we normally see it sitting in previous studies around 3 to 5%. That's across Australia. In markets like Melbourne and Sydney, it's closer to 10%. And that has increased dramatically over the last 6 and 7 years. So the adoption rate, people using buyer's agents, is definitely on the way up. So another common question is becoming a buyer's agent something that you can do part-time or do you have to be full-time? We've worked with many people who do this part-time. I have one of the guys that I coach, his name's Lockie. He is a chippy and he just loves being a chippy. So he'll never give that up. And he does this on the side, but he earns about 180 to 200 grand through his buyer's agency doing it on the side. So he buys anywhere between 12 and 20 properties a year. And that's good for him. And he earns what he does in his chippy career. And he's quite happy doing it. So that's someone that wants to do it part-time. Yeah, earning, 6 figures, nearly, $200,000 while still doing a job that he likes. You can do it that way. If you don't have a job and you wanted to do it part-time because you're looking after kids or you just don't have the capacity to do this thing full-time, I'm not too sure how many people would shy away from earning, $150,000 to $200,000 part-time. So you can do it part-time. Obviously, if you go into it full-time, the earning potentials go up from there. So another common question, which is fair, do I need a background in real estate? No, you don't. We are seeing more people coming through from ex-real estate, ex-sales people saying, hey, what's this buyer's agency thing? It's starting to be more common and I'm dealing with them on the sales side. I'm going to investigate it. So we do have 4 or 5 years ago, you couldn't convert a salesperson into a buyer's agent. It just wasn't the thing. But now we're starting to see it. You don't need that background. Yes, it can help because you know how things work on the other side, on the dark side. But in terms of needing to know that information and having that background is not a skill that you need at all. So I've found people that come in from technical backgrounds like IT, engineering, teaching, nursing, like those types of backgrounds have done really, really well. But we have helped people from all sorts, tradies, FIFO workers, like literally we've got about 5,000 members in our paid membership group, and there are people from all sorts of backgrounds, like all sorts. So having a non-real estate background actually gives a clean slate when you're trying to learn something new. So I would prefer that. Like if I was going to help someone, become a buyer's agent and they came from a real estate background, sure, you can tick a few boxes, but depending on how they are as a personality type, they might not want to, they have to unwind. They have to unwind from what they were doing on the sales side, and that might slow them down. Whereas if you're coming in on a clean slate, you don't know anything else. So it's just, hey, what do I do next? And you just follow the steps. And if you do follow the steps, you're more likely to be successful. How long does it take to replace your income? It really depends on how hard you want to go. So I interviewed a guy recently who started in December. So we're in August, and he replaced his income, or at least his monthly income, in about 3 months. So he was able to go from zero to replacing his monthly income in that 3-month period. He was lucky enough that he had saved and he had annual leave that he took when he quit his job in order to get him started. I would say that's not the average. I would say that's someone that's applied themselves and they've ran really hard to get to where they want to go. The average would probably sit at around that 9 to 12 months. Again, if you're taking it a little bit slower and you've been working your job, you are doing this part-time, you haven't jumped into it, that's probably the difference that I see between the speed of replacing your income. So if you burn the ships, so you've got no other option, and you've got no other focus, and you can just dive into this thing, you can get up to speed really quickly. But I would say, allow 6 to 9 months as something that, or where you could start to replace your income. How do I know if I will be good at this? As I mentioned previously, we have had students come from all walks of life: cleaners, nurses, teachers, FIFO workers, tradies, engineers, IT professionals, you name it, and they have been through our program. So it really comes back to your willingness to learn, willingness to apply and listen. We've done this before. Like, we have done it many, many times. And those people that listen and they apply the teachings, the trainings that we have on offer, they are the ones that win. So it's not a matter of will you succeed, it's when will you succeed if you apply yourself. So I don't even think that's a question. There is a massive need for buyer's agents in Australia, like a huge, huge need and requirement, just because of the amount of, the disparity between sales agents and buyer's agents sits at about 95% across the country. So there's only 5% of properties being sold using a buyer's agent versus in that same pool, there's probably about 95% of properties being sold through a sales agent. So the disparity between buyer's agent and sales agent is enormous, which just means there's a blue ocean. There's a huge, huge requirement for it. And we see the numbers of people using buyer's agents increase every single year. What qualifications or licenses do you need? So at BAI, we have our program that you can go through to upskill yourself. As a requirement to operate in the real estate environment, real estate industry, you will need to be accredited. So there's different levels of accreditation. You can get an accreditation that allows you to go and work for someone. You can get an accreditation that allows you to operate as a company, which you can then employ people. Depending on what state you operate in or want to operate out of, you'll have different requirements. So we have contacts, we have RTOs that we're attached to in terms of they are a preferred supplier of ours and they know our students and know what they need. So we can definitely point you in the right direction. But in terms of the legal aspects of working in the real estate industry, that's not what we do. We help you get into the buyer's agent space, understand what it is to be a buyer's agent. The licensing component is the easiest thing you'll do. It's actually going and getting your clients and marketing yourself, knowing how to sell, knowing how to do the job. That's what we teach you, and that's what we will hold your hand through. That's the important part, right? Like the licensing component is required and it is important. Like you can't operate without it, but actually knowing how to do the job is where it's at from running a business. So will I get support after the program is finished? Depends on what you choose and what course you have opted in for. So if you've gone for Rapid, we do have options at the end of that. We've got Everest and you've got an extension period within Rapid as well. So it just depends on what you're after, but we certainly have options if you want to get mentored. We've got close to 200 people that move through to have moved through to Everest, and they sit in that group environment where it's additional coaching, right? It's additional programs that we run, events throughout the year, and then just our weekly sessions via calls on Zoom. So there is available coaching outside of the program that you've started. Do I need to understand property investing? If you want to become a property investment specialist, so there's variations of becoming a buyer's agent. You can run an agency, you can run an advisory. So an advisory is definitely leading down towards the investment piece. That is, yes, something that you need to be aware of when you're wanting to operate in that space is how to buy an investment property and what makes a good investment property. So in terms of wanting to go down that path, typically I see people with a property investment background. So they might have used a buyer's agent. They might have gone and bought 2 or 3 properties themselves as investors, and they've figured it out and they might have helped a few friends. So now they want to do it as a career. And that is definitely a pathway that you can follow, but it's not everything that you need to know, like as in the property investment side. It's still how to acquire clients. So how do you find those clients? And if that is a pathway that you want to go down, we do have a couple of clinics within our program that you can go to upskill in how to research properties, how to research locations and find, the next hotspots. I'm not the biggest believer in the term hotspots, but that is something that we have access to. We have our own proprietary software as well that you can use in order to locate these areas. I get asked the question, does it cost a lot to run a buyer's agency business? So the buyer's agent space is extremely profitable. Like it can be an extremely profitable business. We have low overhead. So beyond the course, you've pretty much got your licensing. So depending on what state you're in, you've got insurance, your phone, a laptop. There's not much else beyond that to run a buyer's agency business, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, if you want to scale and you want to go to having an office, if you want to have a team member or team members, yes, your profit margins are going to go down, but you can run this business very lean. And once you cover those costs, so let's just say, if you're a one-person band and you wanted to keep it lean, it might cost you about $10,000 a year, right? So less than $1,000 a month to run a buyer's agency business that you can go and earn $1 million in. Like realistically, one person could earn about $1 million. And in terms of that from a profit perspective, you get one client, that $10,000 is paid for and then some. Like you've got probably, if your average fee is $15,000, you got 50% left over, and then that pays for whatever else you have coming up. But typically it's a very low cost model. The flip side to that is we don't have an intrinsic value of the business. Like the business doesn't have an underlying value, and that allows us, most people coming into the buyer's agency space, they're interested in property, and you can use the money that you generate from becoming a buyer's agent or being a buyer's agent and put that money into assets. That's typically what I'll see a lot of people do. High profitable business, put that into assets, because it doesn't have, like if you're a mortgage broker or you were an accountant, you've got that client, it's not even goodwill, it's just that client flow and a trail book that you can sell, all right? Like you can't sell a buyer's agency business. You could, but it's not going to be, it's not going to have as good as a result as say a mortgage broker, but again, very, very different businesses. The availability of clientele and the profitability in this business is what allows people to go and do stuff outside of the business. Is the buyer's agency market saturated? No. The study that was done, and there's a couple of studies that have been done now over the last year or so, they're saying the buyer's agent market or the buyer's agent industry is responsible for about 5% of purchases across Australia, or sales. Like if there was 400,000 sales, there's only about 20,000 sales that have used a buyer's agent. So 400,000 properties being transacted, 20,000 of those use the buyer's agent. So there's a lot of properties. There's 380,000 other properties and opportunities for a buyer's agent to be employed on those sales. So when you ask me, is there opportunity? Is the market saturated? Absolutely not. There is a massive disparity between the sales agents and the buyer's agents, and that is where the opportunity lies. I feel like we're at this tipping point. So most industries will have this steady growth. I feel like we're just at the start when it's going to kick. The environment that we're in, lower interest rates coming, there's all these changes with first home buyers. There's a lot of talk about the property market just in our day-to-day. And typically, I've been through a few cycles, and typically when we have that kind of dialogue through the media channels, it's when things start to go crazy. So if I was thinking of becoming a buyer's agent, like if this is something that you've been thinking about for a while now, it could be the best time to get involved. Like it could be the best time to book in that call, have a discussion with one of our team and see if this is the right fit for you, because I really, really feel like something's about to kick. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But there's a huge disparity in the amount of properties sold to the ones that are using a buyer's agent. So yeah, it's opportunity central.